Hello friends and welcome back to Cine Club. I'm going to talk about Season 2 of Dark, because it is a crazy mess that I'm still trying to make sense out of. I've been waiting 2 years for Season 2 to come out, and to be honest, after watching it, I am not sure I have any answers, just a lot more questions. Before we get into this, you should know by now, major spoilers will be discussed, so if you are interested in watching the show but haven't seen either season, you should definitely not watch this. It should also be noted that I am no expert on time travel. You would know this if you saw my Avengers Endgame video. It's also very possible that I'm not really smart, so take whatever opinion I have of this with a grain of salt. Ready? 3, 2, 1, let's go! So the season starts about 6 months after the end of Season 1. Jonas is still in 2052, trying to get back to 2019. He finds out in 7 days the apocalypse will start in 2019, and the world as he knows it and the people in it will perish. This is a TikTok of the entire season, trying to see how we can prevent this horrible thing from happening that seems to involve the nuclear power plant. Additional to that, every traveler we know so far, Jonas, Noah, and Claudia, start to gab away to everyone about what's going on. What used to be so secretive in Season 1 because no one wanted to disrupt the events as they should happen is now public information with no f***ing care of who knows and why. The series constantly lets us believe that things will be as they were. We are stuck in a massive loop and there's no getting out. The beginning is the end is the beginning, and no matter what we do, time will keep events the same way. This is also known as the Novikov self-consistency principle. The principle asserts that if an event exists that would give rise to a paradox or to any change to the past whatsoever, then the probability of that event is 0. At the same time, Jonas keeps spouting about a loophole and a change and a way to make things right, but then there are 0 specifications as to how that can happen. It seems some people want to keep things the same and others want to change it. But why? We don't know. The series pulls you from everything will stay the same to it doesn't have to be that way in every episode. And after the 3rd time you hear this, it gets boring and repetitive. This is supposed to make the story more interesting, showing that this is bigger than Mikhail's disappearance or the children's death. But now there is more information and no real answers to anything. In fact, there are a lot more questions. Like, who the f*** is Noah? Sure, the first episode of Season 2 starts with a younger Noah devoted to a man named Adam and the prophecy, but that's about it. They're adding new details about who his sister is, who his daughter is. But I have no idea who Noah is. Why is he dressed like a priest? What was the point of him in Season 1? It's impossible to know how you feel about a character if you don't know what they are about, and Noah's goals are unclear. He's clearly a follower of Adam, and at certain points you realize that he's being used, even though he is high up in this cult or whatever. But what does he want? Every traveler's objectives are so fucking ambiguous, it's impossible to tell who wants what exactly. At one point in the series, he discovers some missing pages and it appears he has a change of heart about Adam and does a 180. But how can we know what that means if we didn't originally know what he wanted? His character doesn't make sense. Why did he need all those kids in the 80s and 2019 to experiment on? Did we just completely forget about that plot? Noah is supposedly trying out a prototype of a time machine, but it's not working because the kids are dying when they try it. So what the f*** is that about if in 1921 Adam completely recreated a functioning God particle that takes you exactly where you need to go? Isn't that more useful than the stupid project Noah is doing? Who made him do this project? And why did it suddenly start working in the 80s with Hegel, and why didn't he use that information before? And don't tell me they probably created years after in the future because young Noah is there with Adam in 1921 and seems well informed of all things happening with the apocalypse and the time travel. My point is, it's impossible for me to feel anything about Noah when he seems to just be randomly showing up through the timelines, talking a lot of stuff, and not doing much. Speaking of stupid plans, what is the point of Bartosz? They make a big deal about Bartosz possibly turning to the dark side in Season 1, but what is Noah entrusting him with? What is he supposed to do? Why is none of this explained? Later on in a single sentence, it is sort of explained that his purpose in all of this was probably to show the kids that there was a time machine. Not voluntarily, he just sucks at whatever mysterious job Noah gave him and gets bombarded by the teenagers. Is that it? The biggest mind f*** in the whole series is the character of Jonas, present, future, and future. So yeah, at some point it is revealed that Jonas is Adam. And Adam, as far as we know, is evil. And older Jonas no longer believes in Claudia, who is supposedly good. So now Jonas is the bad one, and older Jonas Adam is convincing young Adam to repeat said events? F*** right off. You can't get away with, don't you know it, I am you, twice in a series. The problem is that young Jonas is as dumb as a box of hammers. He is a lamb. Jonas takes everything everyone says to him as gospel. He trusts absolutely anyone who comes from the future. Maybe they are lying to you, Jonas. Maybe they're manipulating you. Did you ever think of that? And when Jonas and Adam finally meet, which is himself and older self, Adam explains that things will go on as they always have, because he has already had this conversation with himself, except he had it when he was young and now he's on the other side. And then proceeds to tell Jonas maybe things can change and shows him the God particle that will take him specifically to 2019, the time Jonas wants to go to fix everything. And Adam has the balls to be like, yes, you can totally change it. I've never tried this myself. You try it now. Jonas, don't you think Adam would have already tried this and failed? Why are you trusting him? He clearly just told you things always stay the same. Why do you believe him? He even has the clothes you should be wearing for that specific time. He has been waiting for you to do his bidding. But no, Jonas doesn't think about anything like this. He just goes on believing anyone and fucks everything up in 2019. So yeah, now I guess the war is between Jonas, and at one point his morals and beliefs change, and if we know why. The season decides to focus more on the travelers than on the town people. We see a lot of how Claudia becomes the wise traveler, how Adam ends up the leader of a religion that he doesn't call a religion, but it kind of is, and how Jonas understands his role in all of this. This would all be a lot easier if the moment they all decided to talk all about time travel, they were more specific about things to come. Like when Jonas decides to make a change and tells Martha to stay in the bunker, otherwise she will die. He could have made this case a lot better. He could have said, Martha, someone's gonna come from the future and kill you. It will happen exactly like this. It would be a whole lot more convincing than threatening her and giving her no reasons whatsoever. If you're going to go out of your way to change the future, why would you not try your hardest? You are adult Jonas, so you know exactly how Martha will die. Why not just make extra sure it doesn't happen? So yeah, everyone just give people vague clues about the future instead of being more accurate and convincing. It's annoying. All the while, the town people are pretty much just sitting around, slowly discovering things and doing not much else. What made the first season so balanced was the combination of the main story and the subplots, which added more to the main story. Yes, there was time travel and theories and the allusion to something more, but the other characters who were unaware were also interesting to watch. Hannah and Ulrich were interesting. Ulrich's change and story arc was awesome to watch. Charlotte was a fantastic character. To know more about their past and how it explained their current strained relationships was intriguing, but we get none of that in this season. The adults are morons who don't take care of their children. Seriously, Charlotte leaves her two girls alone for a whole week without so much as a text. And they only start doing significant things in the last 2 episodes. Really? Like I said, the show beats you over the head with it, with the whole we are not free to make a choice because we will always choose what we desire. Therefore, whatever free choice we think we're making, we're all slaves of time and fate. Things will always be as they were. So even when we think we're acting accordingly to avoid an event, we end up causing its beginning. There is an overwhelming amount of evidence in the series that proves nothing will change, but we keep getting fed spoonfuls of hope by people like Claudia, who we are unsure if she's good or bad or whatever that means. And also by adult Jonas, who will then become Adam, who wants to end the world as we know it. So who f***ing knows? I can't help thinking that it must be true and a loophole can be found, because in the first episode of the season, we see these markings on the calendar, which happened in 2019. But then we go to 2019 and we see Hannah marking an additional day from the one that Jonas saw in the future. So was there a change? Is this our glimpse of hope? Why is no one addressing this? Did change actually happen? We will have to wait 2 more years to find out. I don't want you to get the impression that I didn't like this season. I enjoyed it even though my brain was electrified, stunted, and subsequently turned into mush. I just feel like season 1 was a better overall experience, and in the back of my mind, I am terrified this will be another lost situation. Some traumas never go away. Overall, I still think it's worth watching. I would definitely watch it again to see if I missed anything. A lot of people are praising it to be one of the best representations of time travel out there, with no loopholes and no mistakes. I would love to say that I found many loopholes and mistakes, but we established early on that I am definitely not a doctor of this. Maybe I'm wrong and maybe this show is perfect, but my issues with it are less about the time travel and more about the characters. But guys, that's just my opinion of Dark Season 2. Let me know what you thought about the season in the comments section down below. You can also let me know on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram if you look for Cineclub channel. That's everything for this one. Thank you so much for liking it and subscribing, and I will see you on our next movie date.